Hello and welcome everybody to the introduction video of Kali Linux. Kali Linux is a Linux distribution that is mainly used by penetration testers and sometimes also hackers. And it's very interesting to show you guys what kind of tools this distribution all contains. Before I really start, most of you people out there, viewers I should say, are probably using a Windows machine. If you're using Linux, it's also no problem, but you can run this Kali Linux inside a virtual machine. So you can either run a dedicated, but also in a virtual machine is great, so you don't need a separate computer. There are plenty of tutorials online on how to set up Kali Linux inside a virtual box. Here I'm running Windows 10 and I'm running Kali Linux inside a virtual box. So my main operating system is Windows 10, as you can see. And Kali Linux is running inside this virtual box here. So let me go over to the window. This is Kali Linux. As I said before, this is used by penetration testers and hackers. It's full of functions and tools to explore. Let me give you an overview. So when it comes to hacking, when it comes to analysis of a tool, the first step you usually do is information gathering. So there are several tools when it comes to information gathering inside this package. DNS analysis, what kind of domain name server is attached to the target, so maybe a website or something like that. Let's say, for instance, for the sake of this tutorial, that we want to have more information on a website, and there's a database behind that website, and that database contains information that we want to steal. Just as an example. So again, the first step, information gathering. What kind of DNS service is connected to the website? Is there an IDS or IPS connected on the network? Let's say this is standing for intrusion detection system, intrusion prevention system. So is there some kind of smart firewall connected to the network on which your web server is connected? Host identifications. You can have a host is usually either a client or a server. It's basically a computer that's online and that's running, and you can identify multiple hosts on the network. So you have an idea of how the network looks like. Where are the servers? What are IP ranges of the servers? What are IP ranges of the clients? Things like that. Network and port scanners. For instance, you can run a port scanner on the web server you're trying to attack and see what kind of ports are running, which ones are potentially open, and from there you can further investigate. Route analysis of the network. SMB is a network protocol. SMTP is also a network protocol. SSL analysis, again, pointing to the website. If the website has HTTPS enabled, maybe you can get some more information on the certificate that is connected to the website with disk tool. And many more tools here. So this is only really to get information on the target. Step 2, vulnerability analysis. So you want to see, for instance, if there's a web server that you know now, what kind of DNS it has, what kind of IP it has. You probably already have information about the operating system, and now you want to see if there are known vulnerabilities within that operating system that you might be able to exploit. So you do analysis on vulnerabilities. Several tools. Some of those tools I will make future videos on as well. This is just an introduction video to this new series. Web application analysis. It being a web server, I'm sure there are some applications in here that you can use to, for instance, see if the web application has a proxy. Web crawlers, directories. Maybe you have more information on the directory and the sort of files that are stored inside the web server. Web vulnerability scanners, so really checking for vulnerabilities on that web server. SQL map for databases. WP scan, specifically targeted at WordPress websites. And ZAP. So finally, we are inside the web server, and now we want to connect from the web server to the database. And we want to do an assessment on the database. So what kind of database is running, SQL, Oracle, Postgres, something like that. What kind of version is running, and we can do vulnerability analysis on that version again. So database assessment. Password attacks, where there's several tools for that. OpenCrack, and crack. So let's say, for instance, you have Kali Linux set up on a laptop, and you're connecting it to a wireless access point that still has web enabled, which is a very old security protocol that has been cracked many years ago. I hope nobody does that, but I'm sure there are a few access points in the world still running web security, basically. And those kind of security implementations on that access point can be cracked. So you have you can get when you get access to the access point, you can also go from there to the network. So when you're on the network, your laptop has gotten an IP address from the network, you're basically in. And from there you can do more analysis on the network, on the servers, maybe other key network elements like routers and switches. You can make yourself a blueprint of the network, and gather information on the network, see what the possibilities are. Wireless attacks go more into indeed the protocols. This protocol, the 802.11 wireless protocol, Bluetooth tools on hacking into Bluetooth, Wi-Fi cracker. It all kind of speaks for itself. Reverse engineering is a little bit more complicated. I will probably make another video about this, a separate video. Exploitation tools, it kind of says it already. Search for exploits and use them. Metasploit. I made videos about this in the past for a different channel, so I will make new videos for this as well on this channel. The most interesting tools on this distribution I will highlight in separate videos. Sniffing and spoofing has to do with network traffic, sniffing it, being in the middle, see what kind of packets are being relayed over the certain switches, and maybe you can sniff into them, and maybe you can even alter data packets between two hosts and change the outcome, or capture some valuable information. Wireshark is a very big tool for network people. They can really go into on the packet level, layer 2 of the network, to really find out what's going on that network. So post-exploitation, what it says is already you exploited it, and there's more to do after you exploited already a system. Multiple tools for that: OS, operating system backdoors, tunneling and infiltration, web backdoor. So maybe you already have hacked into the web server and you set yourself a backdoor, which you can always sneak back into. And when you already exploited the web server, when you already gained access, so to speak, you can do more from there. You want to come back and see what's going on if there's something valuable to grab. Forensics. So to really look for digital marks that maybe hackers left, or maybe there's some rootkit that has been installed by a hacker a long time ago, and the hacker left some traces that will lead back to him, potentially. Forensic tools, reporting tools. Record my desktop anyway. As you can see, this Linux distribution is packed full of useful tools. They can either be used by hackers or penetration testers. And the penetration tester is basically somebody that's hired by a company. It's basically a white hat hacker. A company says, listen, I have a web server, I have a database behind it. It's very valuable that will stay up and running. The information in there, contains privacy, of clients of mine. And I want to make sure that it's up and running 24/7, and I also want to make sure that the information stored on the web server or inside the database is secure. Can you do a penetration test on my website, and can you find out how easy it is to break into the system, basically? And you know, you will get a report and say it took us 2 days to crack into security, and security is weak on this and that point, and our recommendation is that you improve this and that, and we can do that for you, and it will cost you this much, basically. So it can either be used by white hat hackers, which are the good guys when it comes to hackers, or black hat hackers that are really try to do harm, steal information, or maybe even make sure that the website is completely destroyed, delete the database, things like that. So this is my introduction video on Kali Linux. It's a very interesting tool. If you want to go into cybersecurity, I really suggest you check this out. And since we are talking about the virtual box, here's Kali Linux. In a future video, I will install a separate operating system here in the form of a server. On that server, we can run a web server, and then with the tools that you can find in here, we can hack that web server. And then it's all local, and then it's legal. Then it's legal to test out these tools. Of course, never use these tools on real life objects, real web servers, real databases, etc. If you really want to know about this information, the power that this operating system has to offer, just set up your own test lab and try them out. That's also what I will do in future tutorials, to show you the power of some of the tools. I won't go over all of them because I simply don't have the time, plus, what's more important, I don't have the knowledge yet. But the things that I do know, I want to document and put on this channel. And I hope you guys are very interested in this as well. Yeah, that's basically the end of this video. I hope you find it interesting. Share it with your friends, like it if it was useful, and we hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.